I'm Carleen Madigan. I'm the editor of The Backyard Homestead by Storey Publishing. The idea for The Backyard Homestead really came about after I read Plenty, which was written by the people who started the 100-Mile Diet. And there were a couple living in the city in Vancouver and had never really played a part in providing any of their own food. But I think that it really also kind of spurred me to start thinking about what Storey had to offer them. And we have a lot of books that we publish that have to do with food production. They just weren't all in one place. So I started kind of doing a little research about what kind of a compilation we could put together that might help people who were starting off down the path to trying to produce some of their own food. And what came about was The Backyard Homestead, which is kind of a smorgasbord of different topics that range from gardening to cheese making to an introduction to animal care. And I'm hoping that a lot of people kind of connect with it and start trying some of these things for themselves. The best things about the Backyard Homestead is that it shows you how much you can do with really very little space. Even if you just have a small backyard, you can keep chickens. I think that surprises a lot of people. So there's really an awful lot you can do in a very small amount of space. And we are going to take some time here to show you a few of the things that are in the Backyard Homestead so that you can try them for yourself at home.
My name's Dan Williams, and I live out here in Western Massachusetts. One of the things that got me into cooking and doing a number of things for myself was learning how to bake bread. I'm going to bake the bread recipe that's in the Backyard Homestead, a simple white sandwich loaf. You just begin working the dough with your hands. And then the kneading motion is a fold and a press. So fold of the dough back towards you and a press. Turn back out onto your countertop and give it a press. Give it a push and a pat. Plop it right in. Check the bread. It's a nice sort of gold color, particularly with a sandwich loaf. You don't want it too dark. And in fact, it has pulled away from the sides. And it smells like a great loaf of bread. We can now make our own butter. It's very easy to make butter. So in order to make butter, you need heavy cream. And then you need a jar. This is, I think, an old peanut butter jar. It's helpful if you have friends or kids or anyone who enjoys taking turns shaking the jar. This is what it looks like. It looks like butter, and it is real butter, and it tastes great. Tastes great. Of course it tastes great. And it only takes 5 hours.
I'm Dan Harris.
I'm Steph Burton, and we live here in Goshen on less than a quarter of an acre.
Certainly less, maybe 64th of an acre.
Okay, and we have chickens. We have 4 red sex lynx chickens that give us 4 eggs a day. Actually, we decided that we wanted to keep chickens, and it was going to be a long-term goal of ours, but we were up at Brattleboro Co-op. We were going to get chicken that day, and it was $15 for a little fryer. And we were driving home and thought, we need to have chickens now. We can't make it next year or the year after.
Well, since we decided to get them that day, then we immediately rushed home and the coop building commenced at a frenzied pace.
And I think people look at us and say, oh, well, you work 40 hours and you also have chickens. They're not really that hard. And we have neighbors that have little kids, and they were toying with the idea of getting chickens. And I think that eventually they will get them because they see that we really don't do anything with our chickens.
It doesn't take a lot.
I mean,
yeah.
no, there's no, you don't have to train them. They're not like having cows that you have to milk twice a day. Chickens are easy, so that's why I think that's the first step. And you can only, you're going to get an egg every day from a chicken, so you really only need 2.
I think that the scale of what we're doing is probably the smallest I've seen so far, but I can't tell you how many people have been really surprised to show up here and see what you can actually do on a really small piece of land.
Yes.
So.
We make our own bread. We haven't bought bread in over a year. So we make our own bread and pizza. We make our own pizza dough.
Yeah.
And granola. We have the kit to make our own cheese, but we haven't committed to making our own cheese yet.
Right. I brew beer.
We brew beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good.
Basically just sustainability in general,
Yeah.
and we try to keep everything as close to home as possible.
So right now it's early spring, and everyone is kind of hankering for fresh greens, since at least here in New England we haven't had any for a really long time. So I thought I would demonstrate one of the things that you can do to keep fresh greens going through the winter on your windowsill. Any kind of lettuce greens will sprout. So you start by soaking the seed, and you pour in, a good couple of tablespoons there, and fill it with just enough water to cover, and kind of swish it around. And you're going to let that sit overnight. So once the seeds have been soaked, you can put them into the sprouting tray, and that's about all there is to it. You just need to rinse them twice a day, and you can do that right into the top of the sprouter. In a week or so, you'll have fresh sprouts ready to eat, and they'll look something like this.